Beloved chosen one, listen carefully. Heaven has paused everything to deliver this word directly to your spirit. You are not scrolling by chance. You were led here because the eyes of heaven are fixed on you. Even now, as these words reach you, there is divine attention surrounding your life. You are under observation, not the kind that exposes shame, but the kind that protects destiny. You have been wondering why you feel watched, why you sense the unseen, why the air around you sometimes feels heavy with awareness. It's because you are not like the rest. You are marked. Heaven studies your endurance, your reactions, your obedience, every tear you've cried in silence, every time you chose integrity over comfort, every quiet prayer you whispered. These moments were seen. Heaven has kept record of your faithfulness. There are seasons when you feel invisible, when the world walks past you without noticing the battles you fight. But listen, heaven never loses sight of you. Angels are stationed at your side, documenting not your failures but your faith. They whisper your name in the courts of heaven and testify of your perseverance. You have endured storms that would have broken others, but you remained standing. Do you realize what that means? It means the eyes watching you are not here to accuse you, they are here to affirm you. You are heaven's evidence that light can endure in the midst of darkness. The way you keep loving even when betrayed, the way you keep serving even when unseen, proves that the Spirit of God truly lives within you. You are being watched because you are valuable. Diamonds are guarded, gold is protected, and so are you. There are times when you sense unseen pressure, moments when you can almost feel that something is measuring your steps. That is because your obedience carries weight in the Spirit. Every yes you give to God ripples across dimensions. Every act of kindness becomes a testimony in the unseen realms. Heaven studies how you carry light in a world addicted to shadows. The angels watch not as spectators, but as guardians, ensuring you fulfill your purpose. The Word of God declares in the book of Psalm, chapter 32, verse 8, I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my eye upon you. His eye is upon you. Chosen one, not in wrath, but in guidance. When you think you've been abandoned, His gaze is still steady. When you're uncertain which path to take, His eyes lead you, even when your own vision blurs. That's why the enemy tried so hard to make you feel unseen. Because if he could convince you that heaven had turned away, he could make you lose hope. But heaven has never blinked. You are not invisible. You are divinely observed. Every hardship has been witnessed, every injustice recorded. And soon, God will reverse it all in full view of those who said you would not make it. The same eyes that saw you weep in secret will see you crowned in public. The season of being overlooked is ending, because the one who sees in secret is about to reward you openly. Do not fear the watching eyes of man. Their opinions are dust. What matters is the gaze of the Almighty, who calls you chosen, anointed, and unstoppable. You are a walking testimony of grace. Every step you take is a statement that heaven's favor is stronger than any earthly opposition. Now take a breath and recognize this moment. This is not coincidence. This is divine timing. If these words burn in your heart, it's because heaven has called your attention. The eyes of God are upon you, guiding, protecting, and preparing to reveal your story to the world. Pause and feel it, the weight of His gaze, not to condemn, but to commission. You are seen, you are known, you are chosen. And as the heavens watch, your next move will shift everything. If this message resonates in your spirit, show your alignment with heaven's purpose, like, share, and subscribe to stay connected to this flow of divine messages. And as a prophetic act of faith, Comment 777 below to declare I am seen by heaven. Heaven is taking note. Chosen one. Every time you choose light instead of bitterness, every time you forgive instead of retaliate, it is recorded as worship. The unseen watchers are not judging you. They are witnessing history in motion. You are living proof that obedience still carries power in this generation. The eyes of heaven gleam with pride when you rise again. You are not forgotten, you are favored. So stand tall now. Wipe your tears. Straighten your crown. You are about to be displayed as heaven's masterpiece before the same world that once misunderstood you. The gaze that has followed you since your first breath now prepares to reveal your victory. Keep walking in faith, for heaven is watching, and your story is far from over. You have begun to sense it, the weight of unseen eyes following you through the quiet hours of your life. When you move, you feel a shift in the atmosphere, as if something beyond this world observes every step you take. You are not imagining it. There is an invisible audience, both divine and spiritual, leaning in to see how you respond to the tests written into your destiny. You walk through rooms unaware that heaven and the unseen are holding their breath, waiting for your next act of faith. You were never meant to live a life of anonymity in the spirit. Though you may seem ordinary in the eyes of man, in the invisible realm you are known. There are angels assigned to record your faith, demons assigned to frustrate your progress, and the Spirit of God Himself who watches to strengthen you. You are the living intersection between eternity and time, and your obedience echoes far beyond what you see. When you speak words of life, the atmosphere shifts. When you refuse bitterness, the unseen trembles. The invisible audience studies you not because you are perfect, but because you are chosen. You represent what happens when divine grace meets human weakness and still wins. The world may call you broken, but heaven calls you vessel, an instrument through which glory is made visible. There are moments you felt the intensity of being watched. You've sensed eyes on you when no one was around, heard whispers of your name in the spirit when you were alone, and felt pressure without understanding where it came from. It is because your journey is not a private affair, it is a demonstration. Every prayer, every tear, every decision to trust instead of retreat is witnessed by a realm longing to understand the mystery of grace. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Hebrews, chapter 12, verse 1. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin that clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race set before us. You are surrounded, chosen one, not by physical crowds, but by eternal witnesses, angels, saints, and heavenly forces watching you run this race. They are not here to see you fail, they are here to see grace triumph again. Each time you choose endurance over escape, they erupt in unseen celebration. The heavens record every act of courage as testimony that God's Spirit still reigns in mortal hearts. The invisible audience also includes those bound by darkness who watch in frustration as you continue to rise. Demons study your resilience because your consistency exposes their defeat. They cannot comprehend why you keep believing after betrayal, why you still worship after rejection. It is because you were never sustained by applause, but by purpose. Heaven built your soul to shine in silence and endure without recognition. In your moments of isolation, you are being trained for revelation. The watchers observe not to intimidate, but to witness transformation. They watch the way you handle pain, how you forgive, how you rise, and they mark the pattern of redemption taking shape through your life. You are a walking prophecy unfolding in real time. Sometimes the unseen eyes feel overwhelming. You wonder if you'll ever have rest from being tested. But remember, this heaven's gaze is merciful. The Lord who watches you also shields you. His eyes are not the eyes of a critic, but of a father who guards what he treasures. Every time he allows the pressure to increase, it's only because he's preparing to reveal something greater through you. When you lift your hands in surrender, the invisible world stands still. When you whisper, "God, I trust you," though no one else hears, heaven's attention intensifies. You are not simply living, you are testifying. Your life tells the story of a God who does not abandon his chosen ones, no matter how fierce the trial becomes. And while you may not see the audience, they see you. Heaven sees the small sacrifices. The angels see the moments when you choose humility instead of pride. The unseen realm witnesses how you continue walking even when you don't understand the path. Those decisions are sacred. They move heaven more than grand miracles ever could. You, chosen one, are not hidden. The invisible audience watches, and soon the unseen will become seen. The day will come when everything that was observed in secret will be rewarded openly. For now, walk as one aware that you are being watched by heaven's faithful eyes, not to condemn you, but to celebrate the strength of your endurance. Heaven leans closer when you stand in quiet faith. Every sigh, every breath of surrender becomes a song only angels can hear. Though you may never see the faces watching, know this: they marvel at your courage. You are teaching the unseen what trust looks like in human form. The invisible audience will one day rise in applause when the light you carried in secret bursts forth for all to see. You are never alone, chosen one. The air around you carries presence, holy presence. Angels have been assigned to your path from the beginning of your journey. They walk beside you when you rise. They guard your rest when you sleep. And they stand between you and unseen dangers you never even knew existed. Many times you thought you escaped disaster by luck, but it was not luck, it was divine interception. You are surrounded by wings. Every path you take is mapped out with heavenly protection. The roads that bend unexpectedly are not accidents. They are guided turns. Angels clear paths that the enemy tries to block, pushing back storms you cannot see. When the enemy planned your downfall, heaven sent reinforcement. The very fact that you're still breathing after all the battles you faced is proof of angelic presence. You were never called to walk alone. God knew the warfare that would surround a soul as radiant as yours. So he placed unseen guards around you. They stand watch like soldiers in formation, their swords drawn, their eyes set upon your destiny. When you pray, they move. When you worship, they strengthen. When you speak words of faith, they go before you to prepare the way. Scripture says in the book of Psalms, chapter 91, verses 11 and 12, "For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. They will lift you up in their hands, so that you will not strike your foot against a stone." Every word of that promise is alive around you. The angels don't appear as shining figures most of the time. They show up as sudden peace, as doors that open when you thought you were trapped, as strength that rises when you should have fallen. You call it resilience. Heaven calls it protection. Do you remember the moments when you almost gave up? The nights when fear told you it was over? Those were the times your angels fought hardest. They formed a barrier between your spirit and despair. When you couldn't pray, they carried your silent groans into heaven's courts. When darkness whispered lies, they drowned it out with songs of truth you couldn't hear but felt deep within. You have been carried more times than you know. You have walked through accidents that never happened, dangers that never touched you, and sickness that never took hold, all because you were being guarded. The watchers of light move silently, but their impact shakes realms. Every time you rise again, they rejoice. Every time you trust instead of fear, they celebrate victory. And yet, Their protection does not mean absence of trial. The angels do not remove all storms. They ensure you survive them. The same fire that threatened to destroy you becomes the fire that forges you. You are not spared from battle, you are strengthened for it. They are heaven's proof that you are destined to endure and overcome. Even now, as you read this, something in your spirit stirs because you feel it. You've been helped. You've been rescued from things no one else knows. You've walked through valleys where human strength was not enough, yet you emerged standing. That is divine evidence of unseen help. Angels don't always arrive in moments of glory. Sometimes they come disguised as strangers offering kindness, as sudden inspiration, as timing too perfect to be coincidence. They walk with you through darkness, whispering courage when your own heart trembles. They remind you of your mission when the world tries to distract you. Remember, your path is sacred. Heaven's messengers move because you move. They respond to faith, to words of truth, to declarations of hope. So speak life, chosen one. Speak what heaven can agree with. When you declare, "I will not fear," your angels draw their swords. When you whisper, "I still believe," they advance on your behalf. You have never fought alone. And if sometimes the silence feels unbearable, know that the silence of heaven is not absence, it's positioning. Angels often wait for the right moment to act, for the divine timing to align perfectly. They never sleep, never falter, never abandon the ones marked with purpose. The battles you've survived have made you living proof of angelic assignment. You are protected not because you are flawless, but because you are chosen. The unseen hosts march with you, and their wings echo the rhythm of your destiny. So pause now. Feel that quiet assurance that wraps around your spirit. That is the presence of heaven reminding you you are covered. No weapon formed against you shall stand, for heaven itself guards your path. Comment, "Angels surround me." Let this be your declaration today. Write it as an act of faith, not as a routine phrase. When you type those words, you're aligning your spirit with heaven's order, acknowledging the unseen hands that carry you through every storm. It is your reminder that even in silence, protection is active and your journey is watched by the eyes of light. You must understand this. Chosen one, the same way heaven watches over you, hell watches you too. Darkness studies you. Demons analyze your habits, your reactions, your weaknesses. They are not creative, they only copy. They observe where you hesitate, where fear still hides, where you still struggle to believe. The eyes of the enemy scan your life not because you are failing, but because you are dangerous. You carry something that threatens their entire system, the light of divine truth. From the moment you said yes to your calling, you became a target. The realm of darkness took notice. Your obedience became a weapon that pierced their ranks. Every time you refuse to bow to despair, you undo their plans. That is why your warfare intensified after you chose faith. The closer you walk with God, the more hell panics. You don't just carry light, you expose shadows. There are demonic eyes that monitor your progress, hoping to find an opening. They whisper through distractions, temptations, and false relationships. They send confusion disguised as opportunity, discouragement disguised as logic. They try to predict your next move, but what they cannot track is the hand of God covering you. The enemy sees your movement but cannot interpret your protection. He sees the outer journey but cannot access your inner anointing. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in the first letter of Peter, chapter 5, verse 8. Be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. That verse is not meant to make you afraid, it is meant to make you aware. Awareness is armor. You must live with spiritual precision, guarding what God has entrusted to you. The devil cannot destroy what he cannot deceive. He watches to find a doorway, but your discernment keeps it shut. The enemy watches how you respond to offense. He studies whether you forgive or retaliate, whether you trust or accuse, whether you keep faith or give in to fear. When you choose mercy, his schemes crumble. When you stay silent instead of defending yourself, he loses ground. When you praise through pain, his observation turns to confusion. You have to remember that hell's surveillance is not equal to heaven's sovereignty. The enemy may see, but God controls. Satan observed Job, studied his faith, and still could not destroy him without divine permission. You are no different. You are covered by covenant. Every dart thrown must first pass through the filter of divine will, and if it's allowed to strengthen you. The eyes of darkness watch for collapse, but what they witness instead is your resurrection. You fall and rise again. You break and heal stronger. Every comeback you make becomes a sermon that torments hell. You are not just surviving attacks, you are teaching principalities what endurance looks like. You must walk with awareness but not anxiety. Fear is the language of the enemy. Confidence is the language of the chosen. When you stay anchored in faith, hell's eyes lose their power. They can watch, but they cannot win. They can plan, but they cannot prevail. You are wrapped in divine light, and light is invisible to darkness. Remember how many times the enemy tried to destroy you. He thought isolation would silence you, heartbreak would crush you, betrayal would poison your hope, but you rose again. Every failure became fertilizer for your calling. Every attack only revealed how unstoppable your spirit truly is. The watchers of darkness are forced to witness your transformation. That is their defeat, to watch you glow brighter every time they try to extinguish you. Even now, they observe you, confused by your peace. They do not understand how you still worship when life feels uncertain, how you still smile when pressure mounts. But heaven knows it is because the spirit within you cannot be monitored. It cannot be analyzed or copied. The anointing confounds their sight. So walk boldly, chosen one. Let them watch. Let them see the one thing they cannot possess: faith. Your endurance is your weapon. Your purity is your shield. Your obedience is your victory. Darkness watches in frustration because what they intended for destruction becomes demonstration. You are being observed, yes, but not overpowered. Every plot designed against you becomes a record of heaven's triumph. Let hell watch, for soon it will witness your vindication. You are the proof that even under demonic surveillance, light never dies. So stand firm. Every eye fixed on you, both holy and hostile, will soon see that you are untouchable. The traps set for your fall will become altars of testimony. You are not their victim, you are their lesson. Even darkness will have to acknowledge that grace reigns. Let them keep watching, for the time of revealing draws near. The same forces that studied your pain will be forced to witness your breakthrough. The light in you will rise until it blinds every plan of evil. You were never merely observed, you were preserved for victory. Chosen one, every step you've taken, every tear you've shed, every quiet victory you've gained in the dark, heaven has seen it all. Nothing in your journey has been wasted. Every test, every heartbreak, every silent night of prayer has been recorded. The eyes of heaven and even the eyes of darkness have watched your process, because your faith tells a story written by the hand of God. Nothing that happens to you is unnoticed. Every trial is a divine lesson, a page in your sacred book. Sometimes you wonder why you must walk through so much pressure, why life seems to test your strength again and again. But the truth is, each test has been evidence. Heaven allows your life to become living proof that endurance is not a theory, but a reality. The voice of God thundered in the book of James, chapter 1, verse 12. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because, having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him. You are being watched through your tests, not to shame you, but to honor you. When you choose faith in the middle of confusion, heaven applauds. When you stay kind after betrayal, angels record it as victory. Every test is a camera moment in the unseen realm. You are the film, and endurance is the light that develops the image. Sometimes your pain feels like pressure pressing from all sides, but gold is revealed only when fire touches it. The tests are not punishment. They are refinement. Heaven is shaping you for positions you cannot yet see. Every no that hurt you, every delay that confused you, every storm that stretched you, they were all allowed to make you stronger, wiser, and purer. It's not just heaven that watches. The world is watching too. People see your resilience, even if they don't say it aloud. Some wait for your fall, but others find hope in your rise. You have become a mirror that reflects what faith looks like in real life. You don't just preach the light, you live it. You are the sermon. Think of it like a stage built by your scars. The world becomes the audience, and your perseverance becomes the performance that gives glory to God. You never asked to be in the spotlight, but heaven placed you there so others could see that hope is still alive. Every act of obedience you make ripples across unseen realms. When you forgive, heaven records. When you love again, heaven writes. When you keep going after rejection, heaven celebrates. Every test you pass lights another torch for someone walking in the dark. Your story becomes their roadmap. And as you walk through this divine journey, remember you are part of something bigger. When you like, share, or subscribe, it's not just a click, it's like placing another stone in the bridge that carries hope to someone else still standing in the flood. You're helping this message find the weary, the broken, the ones heaven is calling home through light. And if this message has reached deep into your heart, let that feeling become motion. To donate is not to pay, it is to pour oil into the lamp, so the flame that warmed you can warm another soul still shivering in the dark. Do it freely without pressure, because generosity born of love is the most powerful worship. You are never forced to give. You are invited to build, just as a candle loses nothing by lighting another. Your kindness multiplies light. If your spirit feels led to sow a seed, know that your gift becomes another beam in the house of hope heaven is constructing here. Because there are still countless souls scrolling through darkness, searching for the same spark you found in these words. Your simple act, whether it's a like, a share, a subscription, or a donation, becomes the wind that keeps this fire alive. And when heaven watches that act of love, it smiles. So come, chosen one, keep standing, keep shining, keep believing. Every test you face is not the end of your story, it's the evidence of your strength. And as you rise, let others rise with you. Be part of the light that keeps spreading farther than you'll ever see. If this message finds you tonight, let it remind you heaven is watching. But so is the world, and both will soon see the glory written in your endurance. Like, share, subscribe, or pour a drop of oil into this flame so that tomorrow someone else may see because you chose to shine today. And as this flame continues to rise, remember you are both its keeper and its witness. Every spark you help sustain becomes a prayer answered for someone you'll never meet. You are the bridge between despair and dawn. Let your light keep burning. Chosen one, for heaven and earth alike are watching your glow. Chosen one, There are moments in your journey when you feel unseen, when you wonder if anyone truly understands the cost of carrying this calling. You walk through days of silence, through nights where prayers echo with no answer, and you ask, does anyone even notice? But heaven notices. The eyes of the prophets, the saints, the ancient witnesses still gaze upon you from the cloud of glory. They are not distant myths. They are part of the great audience of eternity, watching your endurance with awe. You are not the first to walk this lonely road of faith. Others before you have carried the same burden, cried the same tears, faced the same rejection, and still finished their race. They know what it means to be misunderstood while being obedient. They know what it means to hold on to hope when the world calls it foolish. That's why they are watching, not to judge, but to cheer you on. As the apostle reminds us in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 4, verse 7, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. These words echo across ages like thunder from the heavens. The saints who finished their race are now your witnesses. They see you stumble and whisper, "Get up, we've been there too." They watch you doubt and murmur, "Keep believing, faith still wins." You are continuing a lineage of perseverance that began before time. Your faith connects with theirs like a golden thread running through eternity. Sometimes you think your prayers vanish into the air, but they rise into a realm filled with those who already crossed over. They are the great witnesses whose lives proved that God's promises never fail. When they watch you, they see reflection. Your strength mirrors their endurance. Your struggle mirrors their journey. Your hope mirrors their faith. You are part of a divine continuation. When you cry, heaven hears more than your voice. It hears the harmony of generations of believers who also cried but never gave up. You are not simply living in the present. You are finishing what they began. Their stories live through you. The same faith that carried David through the valley, that lifted Esther before kings, that steadied Daniel in the lion's den, now burns inside you. That is why you cannot quit. You are surrounded by a spiritual audience cheering for your victory. Their eyes gleam like stars as they watch you press forward, knowing that one more step of faith in your life glorifies the same God they once served. You may not hear their applause, but heaven feels their excitement every time you rise again. Even your smallest victories echo beyond this realm. Every prayer you whisper becomes a signal to the cloud of witnesses that the race continues. You are not forgotten. You are celebrated. You carry the torch they once held. They passed it through bloodlines of faith, through centuries of persecution, through storms and silence. Now it rests in your hands, burning brighter with each act of obedience. The light you carry is not yours alone. It belongs to a divine lineage of overcomers. So when you feel weary, remember the unseen stadium around you. The saints watch, the angels record, and heaven leans in close. You are not running alone. You are part of heaven's relay of faith. Your breath, your strength, your courage are testimonies being written in real time. Take a moment, chosen one, and sense the atmosphere of heaven's support. The cloud of witnesses surrounds you, whispering through eternity. Finish it. We did. And so will you. If your heart feels that pull, that gentle push of heaven saying, keep going, affirm it in faith. Comment 333 below. This number carries a sacred symbolism. It represents the presence of the Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit walking with you in perfect unity. It is heaven's reminder that you are never alone. That divine companionship surrounds your every step. When you type 333, you are declaring, I walk with the fullness of God. I am never without His presence. Your journey is not just a story, it's a continuation of heaven's history. And the eyes of eternity are watching as you write the next chapter with every step you take. When you write 333, you're not typing a number, you're echoing heaven's alignment. 3 stands for completion in divine order, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit moving in unity. By declaring it, you're saying, I am covered on all sides. My steps are surrounded by divine counsel. It is your silent way of inviting heaven to walk with you through every chapter of this sacred journey. So, comment 333 and let it be a living symbol of your connection to the Trinity. Each digit becomes a candle, 3 flames burning in perfect harmony around your path. When you type it, you're lighting your spirit's altar, joining thousands of other chosen ones declaring, God is with me always, fully, and forever. The heavens watch and nod, for faith has just spoken. Chosen one. There is a moment in your journey when heaven does not merely look at your actions, it peers deeper into the chambers of your heart. The gaze of God is not like the gaze of man. Man sees performance. God sees motive. While people may misunderstand your silence, your kindness, or even your boundaries, heaven discerns the truth behind them all. You are not being examined for perfection, but for purity. The Creator's eyes do not search for outward success, they search for sincerity. Every hidden thought, every intention buried beneath your choices lies open before Him. That might sound terrifying to the world, but for you, the chosen one, it is the purest comfort. For the same eyes that see your weakness also see your effort, your repentance, and your desire to do right even when you stumble. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 21, verse 2, a person may think their own ways are right, but the Lord weighs the heart. He weighs not to condemn, but to balance. He measures the motives, not the mistakes. While others rush to label you, He looks past the noise and finds your truth. There are motives within you that only heaven understands, times when you gave even though you had little, when you forgave without apology, when you loved without return. These are invisible acts of holiness, known only to the one who searches the soul. The mirror of your soul reflects what you are becoming. Every season of pressure polishes it until the divine image within begins to gleam through. Sometimes God allows tension to surface not to expose your flaws, but to reveal your sincerity. Like gold refined in fire, the heart becomes pure when it's tested. You have faced moments when others questioned your motives. They saw your silence as weakness, your humility as fear, your generosity as naivety. But heaven saw the truth that you acted not to impress, but to obey. You have done things unseen by others that heaven counted as offerings. Every decision born from faith is a stone laid in the foundation of your divine destiny. It's in these quiet, invisible battles that heaven's gaze becomes most tender. When you kneel in your room and whisper, "Search me." Lord, you are opening the mirror for divine reflection. And He does. But He does not look to shame you. He looks to heal you. He reveals not to humiliate, but to transform. You see, the human heart is like a garden. There are flowers of kindness blooming beside weeds of pride and fear. God's gaze moves gently through that garden, pruning, watering, nurturing. His eyes do not scorch, they illuminate. He removes the weeds, not to punish, but to make room for greater growth. That is what divine inspection truly means. It is love disguised as scrutiny. Sometimes you feel the discomfort of conviction. That inner stirring, that holy unease, is not rejection, it's invitation. Conviction means God still trusts you enough to correct you. It means His eyes are still on you, guiding you toward the better version of yourself. When He looks within you, He does not see failure. He sees potential still unfolding. You have been judged by people who never knew your story. You have been misunderstood by those who saw only fragments of your truth. But heaven sees the entire mosaic. God does not watch from afar. He looks from within. He sees every layer, every reason, every motive, and still chooses you. That is mercy. That is grace. So when your heart feels weighed, do not fear the scales. The divine measure always tilts toward mercy. What you call brokenness, God calls process. What you call flaw, heaven calls the space where glory will soon dwell. You are still being shaped, still being refined, still being loved through every stage. Every heartbeat of yours is a rhythm heaven listens to. When it quickens in fear, He calms it. When it slows in sorrow, He revives it. The eyes of God do not just watch your journey, they pulse within it. His observation is participation. His gaze is guidance. You are being watched by love itself. And as the mirror of your soul clears, something radiant begins to shine from within you, the reflection of the one who created you. The longer He looks, the more you resemble His image. You are not being exposed. You are being revealed. Chosen one. Let your heart remain transparent before Him. Let His gaze cleanse you, shape you, strengthen you. You are the mirror in which heaven chooses to see itself, flawed yet beautiful, cracked yet capable of reflecting divine light. Never hide from that gaze. It is the very light that keeps your soul alive. So rest, chosen one. You do not need to prove your worth to the world when heaven already sees your heart. The gaze of God defines you more than any opinion ever could. Let Him look, let Him love, and let His reflection shine through every hidden corner of your being. There will come a season, chosen one, when the eyes that watch you are not only heavenly or spiritual, they are human. People begin to observe you, not always with understanding, sometimes with curiosity, sometimes with suspicion, and often with misunderstanding. They see the outer expression of your calling, but cannot comprehend the depth of your inner process. You are being studied by those who have never carried your burden, yet they will still have opinions about your path. You must learn to live under that gaze without losing your peace. When people watch but do not understand, it can feel like standing beneath a spotlight with your soul exposed. But this, too, is part of divine training. God allows misunderstanding to teach you how to stay steady when others misread your motives. You are being prepared for visibility, not to be adored, but to be unshaken. We are reminded through the writings of David in the book of Psalms, chapter 27, verse 10. Though my father and mother forsake me, the Lord will receive me. When people walk away or misjudge you, it is not rejection, it is redirection. God uses misunderstanding to separate those who see your light from those who only crave its warmth. There are some who will celebrate your progress but cannot handle your purpose. That is why heaven allows them to watch from a distance while protecting your heart from their influence. You have been misunderstood because you are growing in a language the world does not speak. You are becoming fluent in obedience, in silence, in discernment dialects unknown to those who live only by sight. People around you may say, "You've changed," without realizing that you had to. Growth is not betrayal, it is transformation. The same eyes that criticize today will one day witness the reason for your process. There are moments when the opinions of others feel heavier than any burden you've carried. The whispers, the assumptions, the quiet judgments, they sting. But heaven uses even this to refine your focus. When you stop needing to be understood by everyone, you begin to move in peace that cannot be stolen. The truth is, many people see your fruit but not your roots. They witness your moments of blessing but know nothing of your nights of breaking. They applaud the results but are blind to the sacrifices. You have suffered privately in ways only heaven can record. And now, as you stand in the open, the same people who misread your silence will misread your strength. Still, let them watch. Their misunderstanding does not define your mission. Every misunderstood season carries hidden purpose. When people misjudge you, they become unknowing witnesses to your endurance. Your grace under pressure becomes the sermon their hearts cannot ignore. You are not called to defend yourself. You are called to demonstrate God's faithfulness through how you handle misinterpretation. The temptation to explain yourself is strong, but silence can be holy. Sometimes the most powerful response is consistency. You do not have to prove what God already knows. When you walk in integrity long enough, truth rises by itself. Lies lose oxygen when you refuse to feed them. There are some who watch your life not out of love but out of curiosity, waiting to see if you will break. Let them. The same mouths that question your endurance will one day testify of your victory. Your transformation will speak louder than any defense ever could. Even those who reject you now play a part in your training. Their misunderstanding teaches humility. Their distance teaches independence, and their criticism teaches focus. You learn to listen to heaven's voice above the crowd. Every misunderstanding becomes another layer of strength, another brick in the wall of your maturity. Chosen one, you are not here to be understood. You are here to be obedient. The ones who truly belong to your destiny will see you through heaven's eyes. They will not always understand your process, but they will recognize your spirit. The rest are simply spectators allowed by God to test your confidence in His approval. Do not let their gaze harden you. Keep your heart tender, even under scrutiny. Keep loving, even when love is not returned. Keep serving, even when gratitude is absent. These acts of quiet resilience are what make you untouchable. You do not need to shout your truth, you only need to live it. In time, every eye that misunderstood you will see the fulfillment of God's promise over your life. They will witness what happens when divine purpose outlasts human opinion. You will stand not in arrogance, but in peace, knowing that you were never performing for them, you were always walking for Him. And when that day comes, you will thank even those who doubted you, for they taught you the strength of walking unseen and the grace of being misunderstood. You will realize that the misunderstanding was never punishment. It was preparation for visibility without vulnerability. Let them watch, but let heaven define you. The misunderstanding of people fades, the approval of God endures forever. Chosen one, there comes a sacred moment in your journey when you begin to realize you are no longer just surviving. You are revealing. Every breath you take, every act of kindness, every step of endurance becomes a message written by the hand of heaven. You are a walking revelation. Your life itself is the sermon God is preaching to this generation. You are not merely living. You are declaring divine truth through your persistence and purity. Heaven has chosen your story as a living scroll. Your scars are not stains, they are ink marks of victory. Every wound that once bled pain now speaks healing to someone else. The things that almost destroyed you have become the very testimonies that save others. You are a chapter of grace that the world is meant to read. As Jesus Himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew in chapter 5, verse 14, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden." You are that city, glowing against the backdrop of night. You are the proof that light does not need to shout to be seen. It simply shines. The trials you endured were never meant to break you. They were meant to build a platform from which heaven could display its glory. When you rise from adversity, angels take note. But so do those who doubted you. Every comeback is a declaration that God's promises are stronger than the world's opinions. You are walking evidence that grace can rebuild what hell tried to ruin. The very areas where you were once weak have become windows through which others glimpse the strength of God. Do you realize how many eyes are drawn to you? Not because of your beauty or talent, but because of your endurance. You carry a quiet authority that comes only from surviving storms without losing compassion. People can feel the difference. They don't always know what it is, but they sense something unexplainable about you, the fragrance of divine perseverance. Your life preaches even when your mouth is silent. The way you respond to hardship, the way you forgive, the way you continue walking in purpose, all of it sends ripples through the atmosphere. You are the revelation that God still works through flawed humanity. You are the proof that heaven's light can inhabit a human vessel and still shine undimmed. Every chosen one becomes a living testimony. The way you keep faith while being watched by critics is an act of worship. The way you keep smiling while carrying invisible battles is a declaration that peace still reigns. Even your tears carry messages. Every drop tells the story of trust. Do not hide your light out of fear that it will offend darkness. You were never meant to blend in. The world needs to see what endurance looks like in flesh and bone. There are souls depending on your example, hearts silently watching your strength. You are showing them that faith is not theory, it is power lived out daily. The enemy hoped your pain would silence you, but it became your amplifier. You are a voice disguised as a person. Every step you take says, God is faithful. Every breath you breathe whispers, I am still here. Heaven didn't choose you because you were flawless. It chose you because you were willing. Even now, as you read these words, heaven is writing your next chapter. The revelation of your life is still unfolding. You are not at your ending, you are in your unveiling. What once looked like ashes will soon be recognized as the foundation of something glorious. So, lift your head, chosen one. You are not a mistake. You are a message. You are the evidence that light can live inside human fragility and still illuminate the world. Every challenge you face becomes a new verse in heaven's song through you. If your spirit agrees, if you feel that spark of recognition burning in your chest, then comment, I radiate truth. Let that be your declaration, not for attention, but as a seal of identity. When you type it, you're acknowledging that your life itself speaks revelation, that everything you've endured has meaning, and that the light within you refuses to be hidden any longer. You are a walking revelation, and heaven is proud to display you. Keep shining. When you write, I radiate truth, you are declaring that your life itself has become light, that your story no longer hides in shadow. You are affirming that even your scars speak honesty, that your endurance preaches louder than words. It means you no longer apologize for shining with authenticity born from pain, healed by grace. Type I radiate truth as a seal over your journey. It is your reminder that you are not pretending strength, you are embodying it. The light in you comes from every dark place you've overcome. When you declare those words, heaven records it as agreement that your soul chooses revelation over disguise, transparency over fear, and divine purpose over silence. Heaven's camera never blinks. Chosen one. Every breath, every whisper, every hidden act of faith is captured by eternity. Nothing escapes its gaze, not a single tear, not a single prayer, not a single moment of quiet endurance. You may forget the battles you fought, but heaven's memory never fades. It holds your story like a sacred film developing in divine light. Every time you loved when it hurt, heaven recorded it. Every time you forgave when you could have retaliated, the lens of eternity focused closer. You are being documented by grace, not for judgment, but for glory. One day, when your journey reaches its fulfillment, heaven will replay the highlights of your obedience before all creation. Your life is already a masterpiece in progress. The ancient words recorded in the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 16, declare, "Then those who feared the Lord spoke with each other, and the Lord listened and heard them." A scroll of remembrance was written in his presence concerning those who feared the Lord and honored his name. Your story is being written, page by page, act by act, when no one else notices your sacrifices. Heaven writes them down. When the world overlooks your effort, the divine scribe records it in ink that never fades. You are remembered by name in the archives of eternity. There are no wasted moments. Every quiet act of love, every whisper of faith, becomes light recorded on the eternal lens. Heaven treasures details that even you forget. That's why you can never say your life is small. Every heartbeat echoes in heaven's halls. You are not simply living, you are leaving a divine imprint. The unseen camera of grace follows your compassion, your perseverance, your resilience. You are the footage of faith in motion. And as this divine recording continues, it calls others into its frame. Every time you like, share, or subscribe to this message, you are helping heaven's film expand its reach. You become a messenger yourself, a lens through which others can see the same light that found you. It's not about numbers, it's about souls. Every share is a ripple, every like a spark that tells heaven, keep the light moving. When you feel led to give, it's not payment, it's participation. Imagine a candle passing its flame to another, lighting 1,000 others in the process. When you donate, you are adding oil to this lamp, helping the message burn a little longer, glow a little farther. Your support becomes part of the story. Heaven records a scene where generosity meets destiny. This is not about obligation. True giving is never forced. It flows like water from a willing heart. It's that quiet tug in your spirit saying, "This message has touched me. I want it to touch someone else." That impulse is not manipulation, it's the movement of love. Sometimes the smallest gestures carry eternal weight. A single share can reach someone who is breaking in silence. A simple like can keep this message alive in someone's feed at the exact moment they need it. A donation, no matter the size, becomes the unseen bridge that carries light across oceans and into hearts you may never meet. Every act of kindness, digital or tangible, becomes a scene heaven treasures. When you respond, you are weaving yourself into the larger story of divine compassion. You become not just the audience, but the co-author of hope. Think of this message like a living flame carried through generations. Your engagement, whether through a click, a comment, or a seed of generosity, is like the breath that keeps the flame alive. It's not about money, it's about meaning. It's about joining the symphony of light that heaven is composing through every chosen one who listens and responds. And when you give, heaven takes note not of the amount, but of the love behind it. The Lord records motives more than numbers, and a small act done in sincerity outweighs great deeds done for show. You are part of something sacred here, chosen one. You are part of a movement of light spreading through the dark, of hearts lifting hearts. So when you feel the gentle nudge to act, to share, to support, to give, follow it. That is heaven whispering, let's build this together. Like, share, subscribe, or donate only if your heart stirs with peace when you do. Each action becomes a brushstroke in the divine painting that heaven is creating through your life. Every drop of oil you pour into this flame keeps its glow alive for someone else still finding their way home. And as you do, remember heaven's camera is still rolling. It captures every heartbeat of love, every echo of faith, every act of obedience that says, I choose the light. One day, when this story is played back before heaven's throne, your name will shine in the credits not as a viewer, but as a vital part of the light. So keep shining, chosen one. Every act of love, every seed of support, every moment of faith adds color to heaven's unfolding masterpiece. You are part of something eternal, a story still being written by divine light, where every gesture of your heart becomes eternal proof that love never fades. There comes a sacred awakening. Chosen one, when your eyes begin to open, not your physical eyes, but the ones buried deep inside your spirit. It's the moment when you stop seeing the world only as it seems and start perceiving the hidden currents moving behind it. You begin to realize that not every gaze fixed on you is human, and not every presence that lingers is pure. You are learning the rarest art of all, the art of discernment. This is not suspicion, it is sight refined by truth. It's what happens when heaven sharpens your senses so that you can recognize who truly walks with you and who only follows to imitate your light. You are entering a realm where flattery disguises itself as favor, where imitation cloaks itself in admiration, and where shadows sometimes wear smiles. Yet you are not afraid, because your discernment is growing sharper than any blade forged in darkness. The Word of God declares in the book of Hebrews, chapter 4, verse 12, "For the Word of God is alive and active, sharper than any two-edged sword. It penetrates even to dividing soul and spirit, joints and marrow. It judges the thoughts and attitudes of the heart." This is what discernment feels like. It cuts through appearance and reveals intention. It allows you to see who celebrates your destiny and who studies it for their own gain. The watchers of light come close to guard you. The watchers of shadow draw near to test you. You must learn their difference by what they stir within your spirit. Heaven's watchers carry peace. When they observe you, you feel steady, strengthened, surrounded by calm. Their gaze does not drain you, it fuels you. It's like sunlight on your skin, warm, invisible, constant. But when the watchers of darkness draw near, you feel the air change. You sense restlessness, confusion, the urge to act impulsively. Darkness always tries to rush what heaven intends to ripen slowly. That is how you know. Discernment is the light behind your eyes. It teaches you when to speak and when to stay silent, when to step forward and when to wait. It's not fear, it's wisdom. You will find that not everyone who watches you deserves access to your heart. Some are sent to applaud, others are sent to report. Some are drawn by your faith, others are drawn by your fire, hoping to extinguish what they cannot understand. Do not resent the watchers of shadow, for they too serve a purpose. Their opposition polishes your perception. Without contrast, you could not tell what was pure. They press against your spirit until your discernment becomes unshakable. The same pressure that tried to deceive you becomes the classroom where you learn to hear heaven clearly. There will be moments when people appear kind, yet something in your spirit feels unsettled. Trust that feeling. The Holy Spirit whispers in the language of unease when danger hides behind charm. What your mind can't explain, your spirit already knows. The deeper your connection with God grows, the quicker you recognize what doesn't carry as fragrance. Discernment is also humility. It teaches you to see without condemning. It reveals without hating. It allows you to step back, pray, and let truth surface on its own. For every false friend, heaven sends a true one. For every dark gaze, heaven appoints a brighter one. When your spirit walks in light, deception cannot dwell long around you. Sometimes the watchers of light will even move through ordinary faces, a stranger who smiles at the exact moment your strength fades. A friend who calls without knowing you were crying. A word that arrives out of nowhere but answers your hidden prayer. These are heaven's messengers disguised in flesh. They appear not for attention but for affirmation. So walk gently but with eyes open. You are a flame in a world of winds. Not every breeze that touches you means harm, but not every wind means help. Let your discernment be the lantern you carry. Let it glow softly, guiding you through both admiration and envy, through love and imitation, through light and shadow. You are learning the rhythm of heaven's observation, the holy awareness that allows you to feel danger before it speaks, and recognize truth before it announces itself. This is your inheritance as a chosen one. You see what others overlook because you were meant to guard what others would waste. Do not fear being watched, fear only being unaware. For awareness is armor and discernment is peace. The more you grow in it, the less the enemy can surprise you. You will move unseen, guided by unseen hands, walking between light and shadow with steady calm, knowing exactly who walks with you and who only pretends to. And as your sight deepens, peace will follow. You will no longer be shaken by false smiles or frightened by hidden eyes. You will walk as one illuminated from within, impossible to deceive. For the light inside you will expose every shadow around you, and truth itself will become your constant, unblinking companion. There comes a moment, chosen one, when heaven decides that silence has lasted long enough. The time of exposure begins. What was hidden begins to surface. What was whispered in darkness is shouted from the mountaintops. God starts revealing what was once concealed, not to destroy, but to separate truth from illusion. The watchers who once hid their motives are now seen for who they truly are. This is the season of unveiling. Masks fall, motives are uncovered, and what was blurred becomes clear. Do not be afraid of this revelation. Exposure is not punishment, it is mercy. It is God clearing your path so you can walk without confusion. You have prayed for clarity, and heaven has answered not with explanation but with exposure. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 16, verse 17. My eyes are on all their ways. They are not hidden from me, nor is their sin concealed from my eyes. Heaven's eyes never blink. The same gaze that protects you also exposes what threatens you. Every plan designed in secret begins to unravel. Lies collapse under the weight of truth. You may not understand why people suddenly reveal their true nature, but know this, it is divine timing. God is removing false attachments so you can travel lighter into your next chapter. Sometimes revelation comes gently, like light seeping through closed curtain. Other times it comes suddenly, like thunder breaking silence. You may feel shaken when truth arrives. But remember, revelation never destroys what's real. It only removes what pretended to be. The ones meant to stay will endure the light. The ones who cannot handle truth will drift away. There will be moments when you stand in shock, realizing who was for you and who was merely near you. Do not let bitterness grow in that discovery. Exposure is heaven's way of ending confusion before it breeds destruction. God is not trying to hurt you, He's making sure your circle reflects your calling. When truth rises, your vision sharpens. You start recognizing which voices speak life and which speak poison. You begin to notice energy that drains versus energy that revives. That sensitivity is not paranoia, it's spiritual maturity. The light of discernment has grown so strong in you that deception can no longer hide. And as the veil lifts, something beautiful happens, your peace deepens. You stop chasing explanations from people who were never meant to understand you. You stop trying to convince hearts that were never aligned with yours. Instead, you rest, knowing that heaven is sorting what you could not. This season may feel lonely at first, but loneliness is simply the sound of false connections breaking. It's not rejection, it's redirection. God removes noise so that you can finally hear His voice clearly. What remains after exposure is not emptiness, it's purity. The light that reveals also restores. Once falsehood fades, true allies appear. The same exposure that unmasked pretenders makes room for authentic souls to find you. Your tribe begins to gather those who carry the same fire, the same vision, the same unshakable purpose. Even your enemies are being exposed not to harm them, but to free you from their invisible influence. God is showing you faces not to breed fear, but to build focus. You are learning who deserves access to your spirit and who only deserves your prayers from a distance. So don't mourn what's leaving. Celebrate what's becoming clear. Every revelation is proof that heaven is fighting for your peace. Every truth revealed is another chain broken. You are not losing. You are being purified. As the light shines brighter, your own reflection changes. You begin to see yourself as heaven sees you, unmasked, unafraid, unstoppable. The fog that once clouded your perception lifts, and for the first time, you see your journey with divine clarity. If this word resonates in your soul, if you feel heaven uncovering things around you and within you, stand in agreement. Comment 555 below. This number symbolizes divine change, transformation, and release. It means God is shifting your path, aligning you with truth, and releasing every burden that was never yours to carry. When you type it, you are declaring, I welcome revelation. I choose truth over comfort. I trust the light. The exposure has begun. Chosen one, not to humiliate, but to liberate. Let the light reveal, and let your heart stay pure. When you write 555, you are declaring that you are ready for divine transition. The 555 echoes heaven's rhythm of release, old weights lifting, hidden truths surfacing, and fresh strength entering your spirit. It is a sign that change no longer frightens you because you trust the one who leads you through every transformation. Type 555 as your faith signature, a living symbol that you embrace revelation instead of resisting it. It means you choose clarity over illusion, growth over stagnation, purpose over comfort. When you declare it, heaven reads your agreement. I am ready for the new. I welcome the truth. I walk in freedom. And the shift begins. The eyes of heaven do not simply watch your journey. Chosen one, they witness a divine spectacle unfolding. You are no longer walking as a seeker of truth. You are walking as the evidence of it. Every moment of your endurance, every silent act of faith, becomes a display of grace before visible and invisible worlds. You have become heaven's living theater, a sacred exhibition of what redemption looks like in human form. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 9. For it seems to me that God has put us apostles on display at the end of the procession. Like those condemned to die in the arena, we have been made a spectacle to the whole universe, to angels as well as to human beings. You are that spectacle not for humiliation, but for revelation. Heaven allows the world to watch your breaking so they can also witness your becoming. Every hardship you endure is not wasted. It becomes the stage on which divine power performs miracles quietly yet undeniably. You may not have chosen to be seen this way, but chosen vessels rarely do. They do not crave attention, yet attention finds them. They do not seek recognition, yet their resilience commands it. You are being observed not because of your perfection, but because of your perseverance. The way you walk through fire without losing faith is a sermon louder than words. When others see you stumble and still rise, they witness resurrection in real time. When they see you forgive what wounded you, they witness heaven's mercy embodied. When they see you love despite betrayal, they see God Himself reflected through your humanity. This is what it means to walk as heaven's spectacle, not to perform, but to reveal the divine through the ordinary. There is something sacred about the way God chooses His displays. He does not pick the flawless, He picks the faithful. He does not showcase the ones who have never fallen, but the ones who refuse to stay down. Your bruises have become the brushstrokes of heaven's greatest painting, the story of grace made visible through imperfection. And though you may feel exposed, you are never alone on that stage. The audience of heaven does not watch to judge, they watch to cheer. The cloud of witnesses leans closer with every step you take. The angels that guard you whisper strength when your knees tremble. Even creation watches, waiting for the revelation of the children of God to shine forth through your endurance. To walk as heaven's spectacle is to carry dignity even in suffering. It is to understand that your private tears feed public testimony. You are not weeping for nothing. Every drop waters the soil of transformation. Heaven uses your journey to teach others what faith looks like when tested, what love looks like when stretched, what hope looks like when everything seems lost. The enemy hates this display because it exposes his failure. Every time you overcome, his lies lose their audience. Every time you choose peace instead of retaliation, his influence weakens. You are heaven's demonstration that darkness cannot silence a soul lit by divine purpose. Sometimes you may feel like your life is too visible, that every struggle becomes a story others talk about. But remember, God only allows exposure where His glory will soon dwell. You are not being mocked. You are being magnified. The very situations that made you feel naked before the world are the ones that will soon showcase your strength. Even now, heaven is writing your redemption story in front of those who once doubted you. The same watchers who pitied your pain will soon witness your rise. The same voices that whispered your defeat will one day echo your victory. And through it all, you will not boast, you will simply shine, knowing that every ounce of glory belongs to the one who carried you through. Chosen one, never forget to be heaven's spectacle is to live as proof that God still intervenes. It is to stand as evidence that miracles are not myths, that faith still moves mountains, that love still conquers hate. Your endurance preaches louder than sermons, and your existence rebukes despair. So stand tall in your divine spotlight, not for applause, but for purpose. You are not performing. You are proclaiming through every breath, every step, every victory that light is stronger than shadow. You were never meant to hide. You were meant to reflect the glory that has been watching you all along. Even when the stage feels heavy and the lights of scrutiny burn, remember heaven chose you because you carry truth with grace. Every trembling step is worship. Every breath is prophecy. The audience may not understand your pain, but they will witness your transformation, and through it, they will glimpse the mercy of God. So walk boldly. Chosen one, let your scars speak louder than their applause. The heavens applaud silently. The angels rise in reverence, and even the stars take note when you choose faith over fear. You are not performing, you are fulfilling divine prophecy written long before time began. There are seasons, chosen one, when heaven seems quiet, the world goes still, and the noise of life fades into a thick silence that presses on your chest. You wonder if heaven has turned its face away. if the watchers who once surrounded you have stepped back. But in that silence, something sacred is happening. The absence of sound does not mean the absence of sight. Heaven still watches closer than ever. When God hides his voice, he heightens his gaze. In the quiet, he studies the posture of your heart. Silence becomes his way of asking, "Will you trust me even when I don't speak?" It is in this stillness that your soul learns to breathe faith without evidence. According to the writings in the book of Isaiah, chapter 30, verse 15, "In quietness and trust is your strength." That verse is not an invitation to weakness, but to wisdom. The silence of heaven is a test of intimacy. It separates those who follow for comfort from those who follow out of love. Anyone can worship when the sky responds, but only the chosen can worship when the heavens go quiet. You've been there those nights when prayer feels like talking to a locked door, when the answers you need seem delayed beyond reason. But silence is not rejection, it is refinement. God uses it to strengthen the muscles of your faith, to stretch your spirit until it learns to stand without crutches. There is a holiness in unspoken moments. The same way a seed grows beneath the soil, hidden from sight, your spirit grows in the silence. You may not feel progress, but roots are forming. The watchers of heaven are not idle. They lean closer, recording your endurance in the hush, every sigh, every unspoken word, every whispered "still I believe" is heard. When heaven is quiet, the temptation to force noise grows. You search for confirmation in signs, in people, in movement. But the divine silence invites you to rest instead of react. It teaches that faith is not measured by what you hear, but by what you choose to believe in the absence of sound. Even creation understands this rhythm. The ocean does not stop being powerful when the waves fall calm. It simply waits for its next command. The sun does not stop burning when clouds obscure its light. It still shines beyond the veil. So too, your spirit remains radiant, even when heaven feels hidden. Heaven. Sometimes God's silence is a shield. He withholds words to protect you from noise that would have distracted or deceived you. What feels like neglect is often divine restraint. There are truths so heavy they must be revealed in pieces, or else they would crush your current understanding. The delay is not denial, it is mercy. And while you walk through that hush, know that you are being watched tenderly. The same eyes that saw you shout praises now watch you whisper prayers. The same gaze that rejoiced in your victories now watches you wrestle with waiting. The silence of heaven does not mean you are forgotten, it means you are trusted. For in this stillness, your identity is clarified. Without the applause of men or the visible presence of miracles, you rediscover who you are, loved even when unrecognized, chosen even when uncelebrated. You learn to find peace not in answers, but in presence. This is the sacred weight of being known by heaven. When no human eyes understand your struggle, divine eyes do. When you cannot trace his hand, you can still trust his watchfulness. He sees you sitting in stillness, and that stillness itself becomes worship. The watchers of darkness may whisper, "See, God has left you." But they are blind to the truth that silence is God's shadow. Wherever he is silent, he is near. He conceals himself only to deepen your dependence, only to draw you further into his mystery. So do not despise the quiet. Let it cleanse you of the world's distractions. Let it anchor you in the steady knowing that love does not vanish when words do. Even in the unseen pause, heaven's gaze remains steady, unwavering, eternal. When the silence feels unbearable, remember this too is communication. Heaven is speaking through restraint, through stillness, through peace that surpasses understanding. What feels like the end of conversation is often the beginning of revelation. And one day, when heaven speaks again, you will understand why the quiet lasted so long. You will look back and realize that the silence was never empty. It was pregnant with purpose. It was the womb where your faith matured, where your roots deepened, where your heart learned to trust without proof. In the stillness, you were being sculpted, and though no one applauded, the watchers of heaven stood in awe, for silence itself had become your sanctuary. So rest now, chosen one. Let the hush of heaven cradle your spirit. The silence that once frightened you has become sacred ground. Even without a sound, you are seen, known, and loved. For in this holy stillness, heaven whispers the loudest truth: you were never forgotten, only refined by quiet grace. Chosen one, the time has come. The air around you feels charged because something eternal is unfolding. The gathering of witnesses has begun. Not only angels, not only saints, but even the eyes of those who once doubted you. Heaven and earth lean close as your story moves into its appointed season of unveiling. You have walked through the fire, now you walk into fulfillment. As it is written in the book of Daniel, chapter 12, verse 3. Those who are wise will shine like the brightness of the heavens, and those who lead many to righteousness, like the stars forever and ever. Those witnesses are not distant, they are near, watching with anticipation. The saints who ran before you, the angels assigned to you, the souls who were touched by your endurance, they all assemble now. The air around you vibrates with their silent applause. You may not hear it, but heaven resounds with your name. Your endurance has summoned this audience. Every silent prayer, every act of compassion, every quiet stand for truth has drawn them near. They gather not to judge, but to honor. They come to see what obedience looks like when it refuses to quit. You are their living testimony that faith still walks among flesh. Look around in the spirit, you are no longer standing in isolation. The very ground beneath you glows with the footprints of those who believed before you. You are continuing their legacy, carrying their flame. The torch you hold is not just yours, it is the accumulated fire of generations who trusted when they couldn't see. This is the beauty of the gathering. It's not about you being seen, but about light being multiplied. You are one spark in an unending constellation of faith, and together, your lights form a chorus that sings, God is still faithful. Now, as heaven watches, you are invited to respond not with words but with presence. When you like, share, or subscribe, imagine it as adding another candle to the altar. Each small act extends the circle of light, making room for another weary heart to find warmth. It is not an obligation, it is worship through generosity. Your comment becomes a footprint in eternity, a quiet amen written across time. When you leave a word of agreement, you are joining the thousands of voices who stand as living proof that faith still breathes. Even digital words carry spirit when spoken in truth. And if your heart feels stirred beyond that, if you found comfort or direction in these words, then let your gratitude become a seed. To donate is to pour oil into the lamp that never goes out. It is not a transaction. It is participation in divine continuity. Every drop of oil, no matter how small, keeps the flame burning for another soul still walking through the dark. There is a quiet beauty in giving. You are not required to give. Heaven does not trade in currency. It moves in compassion. Yet when you choose to sow, it is like placing another stone in the bridge that connects one heart to another. It says, let this light reach farther. That is generosity purified of pressure, love expressed through action. When you give, You are joining the great cloud of witnesses not as a spectator but as a torchbearer. You become part of the legacy being recorded right now, proof that love still moves quietly through willing hearts. Chosen one. Every act you make, every word shared, every light kindled, every seed sown ripples through eternity. You may never see its reach, but heaven does. Heaven measures not the size of your gesture, but the sincerity behind it. So let your giving be your gratitude, your sharing be your song, your presence here be your offering. None of it is demanded, all of it is divine. When you engage with this light, you are saying, I will keep the flame alive, because the witnesses are not done watching. They are seeing how you respond now, not out of fear, but out of love. And when heaven looks at your heart, it sees a mirror of its own generosity. Your story is no longer just yours, it is woven into the fabric of many. You are both the testimony and the continuation, the one who carries light and gives it away freely. So share, comment, subscribe, or pour your drop of oil into the flame only if it flows from peace. Let it be your quiet yes to heaven's work, your participation in this great gathering of light. Because in the end, all these small flames will merge into one great fire of glory, the very fire heaven has been watching for. And in that glow, the witnesses will stand, smiling, saying, this is what faith looks like when love keeps it burning. And as that fire rises, chosen one, know this, its glow carries your name. Every spark of love you've given lights the sky of eternity, whispering to heaven. The flame lives on. The crown is not placed in private. Chosen one. It is set upon your head beneath the gaze of many eyes that once doubted you, eyes that once pitied you, eyes that whispered your downfall in secret. They will see it, and they will understand. God does not crown in corners, he crowns in sight. For his glory is not meant to be hidden, it is meant to be witnessed. You have walked through seasons where your worth was questioned, where your name was misunderstood, where your silence was mistaken for weakness. You have been ridiculed for choosing faith when logic offered easier paths. Yet through every humiliation, heaven kept count. Then through every injustice, heaven kept record. What the world called loss, heaven called preparation. What others mocked, heaven anointed. The voice of heaven echoes through the book of Psalms. Chapter 23, verse 5. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. That verse is not poetry alone, it is prophecy fulfilled. You are standing at the threshold of that promise. God himself prepares the scene where your restoration unfolds, not in secrecy, but before the very eyes that saw you break. The same watchers who witnessed your wilderness will witness your reward. Crowning moments are never rushed. They are crafted. Before the crown comes, the crushing olive oil flows only after pressing. Gold shines only after fire. You have endured both, and now the radiance within you is undeniable. The crushing did not destroy you, it refined you into royalty. And this crown, it is not made of earthly jewels. It is woven from unseen victories, from prayers whispered when no one answered, from battles fought in silence, from nights where you chose faith over fear. It gleams with the light of every tear turned into wisdom. It fits perfectly because it was forged from your endurance. When God crowns his chosen ones, he does not do so to elevate pride, but to display his faithfulness. Your coronation is not about superiority, it is about testimony. The crown declares that surrender triumphs over striving, that humility reigns higher than ambition, that grace always finishes what pain began. There will be those who cannot reconcile your rising. They will ask, how did this happen? Why them? But your life will answer quietly, because grace never forgets the faithful. The same mouths that spoke doubt will speak awe. The same hearts that turned cold will thaw at the sight of redemption written across your life. You are being crowned not only with favor, but with wisdom. The trials that bruised you now bow before you as servants of understanding. You see clearer than before. Your eyes discern both the trap and the treasure. You wear empathy as armor and humility as glory. That is the true mark of those crowned by heaven. They rule, but they never forget the dust they came from. Even now, the unseen ceremony begins. Heaven gathers, angels align, and silence fills the spiritual air. The oil that once healed your wounds now flows over your head as confirmation you have completed what was assigned in suffering. And now begins the reign of peace. And when the crown rests upon you, something shifts. The weight you used to carry becomes the strength you now wear. The shame that once bound you turns to beauty. The tears that once blurred your sight now polish your vision. You stand not as a survivor, but as a sovereign of your own story, graced, guarded, and glorified. But remember this: chosen one, the crown is not a trophy to display. It is a responsibility to bear. It carries the fragrance of service, not status. You are crowned so you can lift others. You are blessed to become a blessing. The radiance of your victory must illuminate the paths of those still walking through their storms. Let this truth settle deep within you. The same God who watched you weep will now let others watch you rise. You will not need to announce it. Your peace will do the speaking. The glow around your life will testify louder than any proclamation. The watchers will not only see your crown, they will see the hands that placed it. They will know that it was never man's favor that elevated you, but divine selection. You were chosen when no one was looking, refined when no one believed, and now crowned when everyone can see. Lift your head, chosen one. The oil is still dripping, the cup is still overflowing, and the throne set for you has always been yours. It only waited for your becoming. Walk forward, not in pride, but in purpose. For you are living proof that endurance ends in elevation, and that God finishes every story He begins. And as you step forward crowned with grace, the heavens exhale in harmony. Every watcher, every witness knows the truth now. This was never luck, never coincidence. It was destiny fulfilled, the victory of a soul that refused to bow to despair and rose instead into divine glory. Chosen one, this is the final unveiling, the last gaze of heaven before your journey enters a new dawn. The watchers who once observed your struggle now behold your transformation. The eyes that saw your tears now see your triumph. The final watch has begun, and glory is being revealed through you. It is written in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 18. I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. That glory is not distant nor abstract. It is the quiet light rising within you, the reflection of divine endurance turned into beauty. Heaven's eyes glimmer not with surprise, but with satisfaction. They have watched every valley you crossed, every mountain you climbed, and now they witness the radiance born from your perseverance. The story of your life has become heaven's evidence that grace always completes what it begins. You were once the wounded, now you are the wonder. You were once the wanderer, now you are the witness. The watchers who doubted your survival now watch your ascension. The same battlefield that once bruised you has become the garden where you bloom. Glory, in its truest form, is not thunderous, it is tender. It does not always arrive as applause. Sometimes it arrives as peace. It is the stillness after the storm. when you realize you no longer need to fight for validation because heaven has already approved you. It is the moment you recognize that you have become what you were always meant to be, a living reflection of divine strength. All that was unseen begins to make sense now. Every delay, every denial, every sleepless night becomes a puzzle piece fitting perfectly into God's masterpiece. What you called pain was purpose in disguise. What you called loss was only pruning. Every broken season was heaven's sculpting hand preparing you for this unveiling. When heaven watches now, it no longer watches to test, it watches to delight. You are no longer under examination. You are under exaltation. The eyes of God no longer study your wounds, they admire the healing they produced. Angels no longer guard a fragile flame, they marvel at the fire you've become. You see, the final watch is not about scrutiny, it is about celebration. Heaven does not watch to correct anymore, it watches to crown. The watchers of light gather not as observers, but as participants in your joy. Even the universe echoes this shift. The wind carries softness now. The stars shimmer with recognition. Creation itself exhales, whispering, "It is finished." And yet, the glory revealed is not only yours, it belongs to the one who never looked away. Through your journey, heaven has shown what love looks like when it refuses to quit. You are the living demonstration that divine patience always wins. That mercy is not weakness but power wrapped in tenderness. Your victories now become a language others will read. The strength that shaped you will guide those still walking through darkness. The watchers who witnessed your trials will tell your story to those who doubt that light can survive the night. You have become proof that endurance births radiance, that brokenness can still shine, that God's promises never expire. Do not fear the eyes still watching. Let them see. Let them see the glory of humility, the power of peace, the strength of surrender. Your glow is not for pride, it is for revelation. Through you, heaven teaches the world that faith, when kept, transforms mortals into mirrors of divine light. As the final watch continues, peace settles over you like a soft mantle. The noise of accusation fades, the hum of destiny grows steady. You walk no longer under pressure, but under purpose. Heaven no longer tests your heart, it trusts it. There will still be eyes upon you, but they no longer matter. The only gaze that defines you is the gaze of the one who called you chosen. You are no longer performing for acceptance, you are radiating from completion. This is the fulfillment of everything heaven saw in you from the beginning. The one who was once observed has become the observer. You now watch the watchers, not with suspicion, but with serenity. You see their intentions clearly, yet you walk in love. That is the highest proof of transformation, to still bless what once broke you. The journey has come full circle. The watchers remain, but the story has changed. You are not the tested, you are the testimony, and you are not the wounded, you are the wonder. The eyes that once analyzed your weakness now marvel at your light. Chosen one, stand still in this moment and breathe it in, the completion, the calm, the glory. The divine gaze that once measured your endurance now mirrors your magnificence. You were never being watched to be judged. You were being watched to be revealed. And now, the revelation is complete. Heaven smiles, the watchers bow. The story closes not with noise but with peace. For the one who was seen has now become sight itself, clear, radiant, eternal. And now, beloved chosen one, you've reached the final breath of this journey, the moment where reflection meets revelation. The words that have walked beside you have not come to end your story, but to remind you that it continues beyond the screen. You are part of something larger than a message, You are part of a movement of light that refuses to die. If these words have found a home in you, let them keep living. When you like, share, or subscribe, think of it not as engagement but as breath. Each small act becomes another heartbeat in this living message, helping it travel to souls still wandering in silence. Your simple touch on this flame keeps it alive in ways unseen. And if you've ever felt warmth in these words, consider letting gratitude become motion. To donate is to pour oil into the lamp that keeps shining for others who still sit in the dark. Not as obligation, not as transaction, but as worship. Giving here means saying, "Let what found me find another." It is beauty multiplied, not requested. Your comment is not just a reaction, it's a ripple. When you write, you join the invisible circle of those who have awakened. Every word left below becomes a small beacon to another soul scrolling past, whispering, "You are not alone." Nothing is demanded here, only invitation. If peace fills your spirit as you act, that peace is your confirmation. Whether you share, donate, comment, or simply carry this message quietly in your heart, you are already part of its light. The watchers have seen you rise, heaven has seen you endure. Now let the world see your kindness. The flame is in your hands. Keep it burning beautifully.